Okay, so now I'm on page 165. I just want to go over a few more problems and then I'll let you loose to take your lesson quiz. Remember, in the lesson quiz, there's going to be problems very similar to what we're practicing here. So that's why it's so important to listen during the video, because then you'll know exactly what to do on the lesson quiz, you'll know what to do on the homework, and then you'll know what to do on the chapter test at the end as well. Okay, so let's look at number 1. We have 26 divided by 2. Okay, we're going to break 26 apart into two numbers that 2 will go into very easily. Now, again, there's more than one way that you can break this apart. You could break it into 10 and 16. You could break it into 20 and 6. You could break it into 22 and 4. You're looking for a way to break 26 apart so that it is easy for you to divide it by 2, okay? So I'm going to break 26 apart into 20 and 6. Now that's easy for me because I can look at, well, really all I'm doing, just like in our multiplication before, is really all I'm doing is 2 divided by 2 and then adding my 0. So 2 goes into 2 one time, I add my 0, so that's nice and easy for me, 10. And then 6 is also easy because it's so small. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my answer to 26 divided by 2 is take those two partial quotients. Remember, partial product was part of the answer to a multiplication problem. Now we have partial quotients, part of the answer to a division problem. So 13. Now, I can also model this on graph paper, okay? Now, when you're doing your homework, this is your choice, okay? If modeling on the graph paper makes it more clear to you, then do it. If it doesn't make it more clear to you, then don't, okay? But don't not do it just because it takes a little more time, okay? But if it truly doesn't help, then I'm okay with you not doing it on the graph paper, but I want to show you how. So again, we look at the divisor 2, so I need columns of 2, so 1, 2, and then I keep going till I get to 26. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. So I got this block here. I think it's actually easier with my mouse. I'm still using my mouse. Now I broke it up into 10 groups and 3 groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's my 10 groups of 2. And there's 1, 2, 3 groups of 2. So again, if we're labeling all our parts, 10 times 2 is 20, 3 times 2 is 6. If I add those together, I get back to my dividend, which is how I check division problems, so this problem checks out. Alright, let's take a look at number 2, 45 divided by 3. So again, I'm going to break 45 apart, and again, you can break it up however you want. The reason you break it up is because you want to give yourself two numbers that you know 3 can go into evenly and easy for you, okay? Now, once again, I see this and I'm going to say, oh, 3, I can break it into 30. Because again, I gave myself an easy number. I know 3 divided by 3 is just going to be 1, and I add my 1 0. Now, what's left over? Well, to find that, I used 30 of the 45. So I subtract, and I see I have 15 left over. So 15 goes over here, and lo and behold, 3 goes into 15 nice and easily. It goes in 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15, so 15 divided by 3 is 5. It's a fact family. And then I add those together, and I get 15. If I wanted to model that, again, my divisor tells me how big my columns are going to be, 3, and I keep counting columns until I get to 45 total cubes. So 3, that's 3 cubes, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Okay. So there's my 30 that I had made earlier, this part of the problem. So I have 3, and then how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can see I could have gotten that right here from my answer here. But that's going to be 30 total blocks. But again, remember, I broke it up. I need to get to 45 total. So looking at our problem, if this 10 represents this 10 here, then that tells me this 5 is going to represent how many I need here. So it's still 3 tall, but now I go over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down and over. So this is my 5, and 5 times 3, this should be 15 blocks, which I can count it if I wanted to, or I can just do the multiplication like I did. So my final quotient, my final answer is 15. These are partial quotients, 10 and 5. Okay. Now let's look at number 3, 86 divided by 2. So again, there's a lot of different ways I can break this up. Okay. But I'm going to break it up into 80 and 6, because again, I notice if I get a 0 here, I can use place value. 80 is the same thing as 8 tens, so 8 tens divided by 2 is going to be 4 tens, or 40. And then over here, another problem just like I had before, 6 divided by 2, still 3. So my final answer is going to be 43. Alright, over on to number 4, 208. Well, once again, from our last lesson before, 4 can't go into 2, but if I extend this and look at 208 as 20 tens, 4 I know can go into 20 tens, or 200. 20 tens is the same thing as 200. So I'm breaking this 208 into 208. So 4 goes into 20 tens 5 times, and I didn't use 1 0, so 50. And again, I could check that. 4 times 50 is in fact 200, so I'm okay, it checks. And then 8 divided by 4 is 2. So my final answer, take those 2 partial quotients, add them together, and I get 52. Okay, 5, 6, and 7, it says use base 10 blocks to model the quotient, then record the quotient. You don't need to do this. We don't have the base 10 blocks available to us. If that is your favorite strategy, let me know. I can probably get you some base 10 blocks. But really the most important thing is getting the quotient. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to do that, and on the homework tonight it doesn't ask you at any point to use base 10 blocks to model the quotient. But we went over that in video 2, in the second video. So if you do want to go back, you can. But again, I'm going to break this into 80 and 8 and divide them both by 4. Oh, that's an ugly 4, sorry. Divided by 4. 8 goes into 4 twice. I ignored 1 0, so that's part of my quotient here. And then 8 divided by 4 is 2 still. That's part of my quotient, so I add my 2 partial quotients, 20 plus 2, and I get 22. Okay. So again, don't worry necessarily about this direction. Go ahead and try 6 and 7 on your own. And again, there's no rule in what to break these numbers apart into. You want to break them into 2 numbers that you can divide the divisor by easily. Okay? As long as you don't change the value of the dividend. Alright, thanks again. Focus. Can-do attitude, take initiative, listen.